What's up, everybody? On this episode of the Best of Bias Podcast, you got your boy Lydell Dinero handling business. You know what month it is. You know what time of the year it is. It's the sports equinox. And I hope you guys don't mind the glasses. Ooh, let me close the watch. I mean, I've done too much today, but let you guys know what time it is. The sports equinox. All the sports is going right now. We got MLB baseball. We got NFL. We got NBA preseason. We got NHL back. It's the time of the year we all been waiting for as sports fans. If you're not sports fans, man, this is going to be kind of an awkward time in the Best of Bias podcast. It's going to be a lot of sports coming at you, but I'm still going to hit you guys with that pop culture and cinema corner. I'm not going to forget about y'all. I'm not going to forget about all aspects of the bias. So on this episode, you already know what's coming. We got the NFL, a little bit of college, not much. Oregon had a bye last week, so I'm just going to preview this week. Maybe talk a little bit about Colorado, saying your weekly taste, because I know everybody's all hyped for that this year. NFL scores from last week, and then we preview next week. And I pick my teams and predict. I actually took track of the teams I picked last week so I can hold myself accountable for the ones I got wrong. And then we'll move into some NBA preseason. Wemby and Chet played each other. Some of the next up and coming premier kind of stretch, kind of power forward center types that everybody's kind of looking forward to seeing this season. So they played against each other. We can talk about the Nuggets playing the Suns in preseason. I mean, it's preseason, not much going on in the big three of the Suns. Sat out, spoiler alert right there. But then we'll talk about a little bit of pop culture. I know we have a lot of sports, so we won't get too far into it. Fantasy football, of course, we'll go over that in scores. And then we have the pop culture for all the dogs is out now. We had like a week to process and digest what it is. A lot of controversy going out about that, so we'll talk about that and the fallout. Some podcasters' opinions have been scrutinized by Drake himself, so we'll talk about that as well. And lastly, in Cinema Corner, also, I guess today I added this to the pop culture for y'all. Jada and Will supposedly have been separated since 2016. So I'll give some reflection on that and some of the stuff and some of the signs that we've seen for this coming to getting that news break today. But and also we have lastly Ahsoka Finale review. No AKA today to kind of in-depth review it. So I'm gonna give you a Lydell Dinero style review. Maybe we can clip it up, and maybe I can be accurate in some of the stuff that I say, and some of my opinions may not go over some people's heads, but maybe some people have the same opinions I did because, again, I didn't watch Rebels. I didn't really know what was going on before. So if you're watching like I was watching it, just kind of stepping in for the first time and trying to put things together, you can see me talking in the computer on my glasses. I'm sorry, and they're like shit, man. Hope it's not too distracting, but it's the Best of Bias podcast loaded episode for you today. But I'm trying again, always I try not to hold you too long, but I end up having the same around time, like hour 10. So hope you guys are ready, new listeners. Thank you. I always like to say thank you for clicking on this podcast. You can be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me today on this beautiful Friday. And yeah, I mean, hopefully everything's good, everybody. But let's get right into it. It's the Best of Bias podcast. Lydell Dinero, no guest today, but we getting it in. Where that theme song at? It's the best of bias. You need the earful, you should try us. From pop culture to the movies to Unitas. It's the best of bias. Your best of bias. Yeah, it's the best of bias.
You are now listening to the Best of Bias podcast with Lydell Dinero and Hugo Twilight.
What up, everybody? It is Friday. It is your boy. We back doing bigger and better things. New week, new podcast, episode 182, season 2, episode 16, I believe. I think so. AKA, you can throw that up somewhere if you want to. But what's up, everybody? Hope everybody's doing well. Again, today is Friday, last day of the week. Hopefully, everybody's weekend. They have some plans out there to watch some sports. If you're a sports fan, get out there in the nature. If you're a nature fan, get out there in the sunshine, spend time with your family. If you're a family fan, hey, I'm a family fan as well. But you know what I'm saying? Sports equinox is here, and sometimes my weekends are sacred. You know what I'm saying? I like to spend time with my family. I'll give them a Friday, Monday through Friday, that love after work and stuff like that. But Saturday and Sundays, I be locked in. Sometimes Mondays too, but a lot of the Thursday and Monday games haven't been as good as I would like them to be. So I I find a lot of time to spend with the fam. So I just feel like Saturday and sometimes Sunday sometimes, not for just 16 weeks. You know what I'm saying? A couple months here. It would be good. I'm just playing, y'all. I love my family. I spend time with my family all the time. But hey, come on now. From 10 to 5, I'm busy. From 7 to 10, or 8 to 10, maybe I'm available. Yeah, I know how it is, but plenty of sports to talk about today. Plenty of bias to talk about today. I wish I had some guests on here to talk about these pop culture topics because it's gonna be funny to talk about just by myself. But it's gonna be interesting to hear what you guys feel about it. Hopefully, you guys can just comment down below. I know when people watch, they like to put the thumbs up. Leave some comments too. Let me know how you feel. Let me know if we're doing a good job. If you want to be part of the topics and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Make sure to leave a comment down there and let us know how you feeling. Because sometimes when I get here and talk to myself, I'll be just rambling on. I don't know if I'm you know, giving you guys something that y'all want to hear, if I'm just talking about nonsense, you know what I'm saying? So react down there. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I'll react back. Negative comments, I'll react back too. Don't worry. Not in a negative way. Hey, all what is it called? Criticism can be constructive, if you put that spin on it and if you got a mindset of a winner. The winner. Uh Name Lydell Dinero. But anyways, let's get right back to it. Let's start with some college football. Hope you guys are ready for the sports rundown. I'll try to get through this quick so you can get to the juicy stuff over there in pop culture in the cinema corner. But starting with college football, this week we got a big wham damn doodle, baby. Oregon didn't play last week. I was missing out. Buccaneers didn't play last week either. So I was sitting there twiddling my thumbs while everybody else's favorite teams were able to play and get that prime time love that they deserve, you know what I'm saying? But it's just not they don't hit the same when my teams ain't playing. This weekend we got a big one. University of Oregon is playing the University of Washington. We like to call it hate week because those Huskies, boy, they are a thorn in our I mean, I guess the webbing of our feet, if you want to talk about us as ducks, because these motherfuckers, excuse my language, YouTube, don't hate me too much for saying that, but these guys are just always just rah, 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 rah. You feel me? AKA try to put in that clip if you can. These fools just don't stop talking. They think they the shit. A couple of years, I don't know, maybe last year, maybe the year before, just as of recently, they've been able to have our numbers, but classically, we've been whooping the shit out of Washington again. Excuse my language for the kids listening out there. And they've been stealing some recruits from us. People think that going up to Washington is going to help them kind of try to make a difference and change the wave of the Ducks actually just winning the Pac-12. USC tried it by getting Lincoln Riley and getting Caleb to transfer over, but I don't know, man. I don't know. They just need to realize they can take turns trying to take it over, but once the Ducks get it back, we're gonna hold it for a couple of years before y'all regroup and try to take it away from us. But this year is actually the last year, so I feel like winning the Pac-12 as we're all going out and dispersing from the Pac-12 will be that much more, uh, that much more memorable and that much more. I don't know. I would say it would mean more, I guess you can say, because yeah, all these teams like you heard me talking about CU the other day, how everybody kind of just felt like since I was going for Oregon or something like that that I necessarily hated Coach Prime or hated the Buffaloes just because. No. You guys are new here. That's the thing. That's the thing. You guys that don't watch college football, that don't watch college sports, that don't know about the conferences, it's just annoying to even see you guys speak on the subject because you don't know how it is. I mean, you guys probably have divisional teams you don't like in NFL, divisional teams you don't like in your professional sports, but it goes really deep when comes to college sports, man. Because it takes is one loss for you to your season to be derailed, especially with only 4 teams making the playoffs, yada yada yada, and all this and all that, man. It's deeper than one person. You know what I mean? It's a collection of players over the years, of coaching staffs over the years. I don't know. If you were in it, I'm not even a player. I'm just a fan, a really devout fan, and kind of just can see it for what it is. People just kind of like spinning stuff in the media for clicks, and a lot people need something to talk about in the morning. The sports primetime talk show block is probably like 6:30 or probably 5:30 if you think about it, with the get ups and the Carson shows of the world. 5:30 to about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You got to have some topics to talk about. You don't want to have the same recycled stuff, even though they kind of do talk about the same stuff throughout all the shows and shit. But you got to have something. So I don't know. Back to Washington before I went off on that tangent. Washington's doing pretty good. Michael Penix Jr. At their quarterback is pretty raw. Transfer from I forgot where he transferred from. He's been at Washington for the last couple of years. Him and Bo Nix are 2 quarterbacks that have been around the block a little bit and are in their 5th year pretty much of eligibility. Doing their thing. Washington has a couple of good receivers. McMillan and I forgot how Ubuzi or something like that. Some African last name on Washington as well. Two really good receivers. And they've been doing work, putting up points on everybody they've been playing, but their defense is something to be garnered. You know what I'm saying? They wish they had a better defense. I mean, they stole some defensive lineman recruits from us. They do have a pretty good Polynesian kind of pipeline through there. I know Vita Vea went there from the Bucks, and they do a lot. Have a Pacific Islander population up there that's pretty big. So, Oregon, the Washingtons of the world, the Utahs of the world, kind of, can attract those kind of the players nationally. And of course, everybody's competing for 4 and 5 star players. So once these teams go and recruit in other states, it's kind of hard to pull players that are locally in a state of a university, try to pull them away from their home state and their family. So we've lost a couple of those 5 star D line recruits, and receiver McMillan himself chose Washington over Oregon, deciding to stay home, stay close to where they are from, and just close to that pipeline that they're used to and are familiar and feel more comfortable around. And I don't blame them, you know what I mean? But there is some resentment when it comes to things like that. We're fighting for the same players, we're fighting for victories, we're fighting to build a program that is dominant in the Pac-12. And when you lose a player, you sit in their household, sit on their couch, talk a player up, and let them know that you want them at your school, and all these things you're gonna do for them. And somehow, you think you have it in the bag, and somehow Washington or another rival school goes there and just changes the player's mind, which the player has the right to do, change his mind, but it still leaves a sting that it's like this rival out here is out to get us. So this game has always been something that's been really big for us. Washington versus Washington and Oregon. Now we're in the spotlight for being 2 top 10 teams. Number 7, Oregon is number 8. Washington is number 7. So this game is really detrimental to one of the teams actually making the college football playoffs. Because again, if you lose one game, it's kind of bad for you. Sometimes teams can recover from losing one game, but if the schedule is light for one of the teams that are undefeated, it's kind of like you just kind of messed up for the rest of the season and have to leave it up to the committee. But this game has 2 quarterbacks that are in the Heisman running. This game has 2 teams in the top 10. So it's going to have a lot of implications to see who's actually going to be that team that's real in the Pac-12 and that can make it to the college football playoffs. So I'm excited to see this one. Again, Bo Nix, Bucky Irving and company, Troy Franklin have had a week off. Washington had a week off too to get healthy. All the aches and pains, the offensive line, defensive lines, we're going to need to play. There's going to be some boys out there. So I'm expecting a big game. If you guys want to watch it, it's going to be, I think, on Fox, if I'm not mistaken, at 12:30. So check that out. Last Pac-12 meeting between these 2 teams. They're going to be playing each other for a while, though, because they're both going to the Big Ten, if I'm not mistaken. I think they are. I know they are, actually. I don't know I said that, but that's going to be interesting to see. So I'm excited to see that. You guys tune in. I got Oregon all day. You already know. Let's go, Bo Nix. Let's go, everybody. Bo, bring us home, because next year we have to figure out we're going to do a quarterback again as we move into the Big Ten. So this is the last hoorah for the boys. Bucky Irving as well. So let's get it done. Let's get it done. Moving on, let's talk a little bit about Colorado. They played Stanford this week. Last week, you saw them with a walk-off field goal in ASU. You saw Sador go and flash the watch at the fan section. Everybody is kind of talking about that, calling them cocky for just barely coming out with the victory over ASU. But I don't know, man. If that's what it takes to get them ready for the next week, and it what's the word I'm looking for? If it takes him over the top and makes him perform better, whatever advice he needs to get in that mind state, I feel like you should take it. Some people call it cocky, some people call it arrogant. I don't. I don't. If you want him to stop doing it, make him stop. I'm reminded of Cam Newton. Every time he would get a first down, every time he get a touchdown, he do the Superman and do the little first down point and stuff like that, smiling at the crowd. Everybody would hate it, but if you want him not to do it, stop him from doing it. You know what I'm saying? And nobody really has stopped him from doing it. Though Oregon and USC have beaten him, he's keeping his head up and still trying to do what he can do, showing the teams and all the scouts that he does have talent and he has that perseverance to keep on going. I know I have a good showing against Stanford because they're not really that good, but the rest of the schedule is going to be tough, and we're going to see that resilience tested because they play UCLA, who's ranked. They play Oregon State, who's ranked like 14. They play Washington State and Utah, who is ranked as well. And that's just in the Pac-12. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a tough road, but it's going to be good for Sador to, for this year, to go through the slate of teams and these tough teams and go through these, ups and downs as his dad kind of gets it and Coach Prime gets those recruits that he needs as far as offensive line, defensive line, and on defense to help him and Travis get even that much better and ready for the when he actually does want to come out. So again, nobody hates CU, but when they play against us, you know what I'm saying? It's you ain't gonna win. I hope you lose. But I feel for them. They already lost 2 games. These next games are gonna really show. And the media again, they're gonna be on the team and they're gonna be really spotlighted. College game day is gonna always be at the school when they play a big team. So it is pretty crucial that they put on a good showing at least. Because yeah, yeah. Once that media spins the other way, it's kind of hard to get off. But I have a feeling Coach Prime's going to turn it around, and if some of these games they may win, and some of these teams have to fall off at some point anyways because they're going to play Oregon, they're going to play USC, they're going to play UCLA, they have to play each other. So one of these teams, undefeated teams, are bound to lose anyway. So this week is going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting week and weeks following in college football because every game matters, and these teams will be playing for something. No more cupcake games, no more sitting the starters. We're going to see what's up, and I'm excited to see it. But the other good part of the weekend, NFL, you already know. Last week we had a full slate of games. Hopefully your teams won. Maybe they didn't. Some teams had good showings. Some teams had terrible showings. And the league is trying to separate itself. So I'm gonna go through some of the games from last week and some of the games that I picked. Um, yeah, starting with the Thursday night football game. I know you guys saw that. The Bears were actually able to get their first win against the Commanders. Justin Fields and DJ Moore went off. DJ Moore had like 213 yards, like 3 touchdowns, like 50 something fantasy points. Justin Fields had like a rushing touchdown. Of course, the 3 touchdown passes to DJ Moore. And I think he had a touchdown pass to Cole Kmet as well. So I think he may have 4 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns he was responsible for. So he balled out. I'm happy for him to get his first game under his belt because everybody's talking about that mess about him not being a real quarterback, and the Bears should just wait around and draft a quarterback, Caleb, in the first round and get Marvin Harrison Jr. and just be done with Justin Fields. So it's really going to depend on what he does this week to follow up that game and him and DJ Moore had to see what's going on. Their running back situation is kind of dire right now. I think Deontay Foreman starting this week. Khalil Herbert got hurt. Roshan Johnson, the rookie they got from Texas, got hurt too. So we're gonna see what they do next week, but good win for them. I'm really excited that they won that game. Um, and yeah, Sunday slate. We had the Jaguars play the Bills again in London. I don't know why the Jaguars get to play 2 weeks in London and everybody else has to come just like a couple of days before the game and just kind of be jet lagged and all that. It's kind of a weird advantage that they're getting. But the Jaguars were able to do a little something and rebound. The Bills were on the high horse for a while after beating up on the Dolphins. Did they play the Dolphins last week? I think they played the Dolphins last week, but they got a little get back. Jaguars came back and kind of humbled them a little bit. Jaguars won 25-20. And I believe I got that one wrong because I definitely picked the Bills to win. And in that first game, I picked the Commanders to win that game, and definitely was wrong about that because the Bears were like, nah, bro, we ain't going out like that. Saints beat the Patriots 34-0. Oh my gosh, that was surprising, especially after this showing against the Buccaneers. I thought the Saints were actually going to be down and out, but they beat the Patriots 34-0, which kind of shows us that again, the Patriots just got whooped. I think they got whooped last week. And now they're getting whooped again. They got shut out this week. So is it Bill Belichick? Is it Mac Jones? What is it really? We don't know, but I think they're 1-4 at this point, and that's a terrible start for the Bill Belichick and the Patriots. I don't think they've started that way like ever in the last 10 years or so or whatnot. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they do, and if they make any moves, they bench Mac Jones. It's gonna be interesting to see. But they did lose to the Saints 34-0, which I didn't like because that moves them closer to us in their division. But luckily we have a tiebreaker for beating their ass 29-6 or something like that. Titans lost to the Colts 23-16. Even though the Colts won, they did lose Anthony Richardson for like I think 6 to 8 weeks with a shoulder sprain. Jonathan Taylor came back, but didn't really get to do much because Zach Moss just went off and just did all the work for him. They're able to win that divisional game 23-16. The Steelers and the Ravens. The Steelers won thanks to Lamar Jackson fumble at the end of the game. Steelers won. If you saw the game, you saw that pass that Kenny Pickett made to George Pickens, like a 70-yard touchdown pass to take the Packer or the Steelers up at the last minute. And then once the Ravens got the ball back, Lamar Jackson fumbled and cost the game for the Steelers. I think the Steelers are in first place in that division right now with that victory. And it's kind of hard to take that division seriously after seeing how bad the Steelers offense has been this whole season. But I guess the defense is real. And I guess the other teams in that division are still getting their things together. Joe Burrow and them are just won another game. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but yeah, it's looking like the Steelers right now. But I'm sure that Joe Burrow and them and the Ravens are going to get it together and probably take over. But right now, Steelers beat them 17-10. The Lions beat down the Panthers 42-24. Jared Goff and company are balling out. I think they did that without Jahmyr Gibbs, and I don't think Amon-Ra St. Brown played at all either. So they balled out. They're looking like a force to be reckoned with. Best record. I think they're 4-1 right now. Best record they've had in shit in a while, maybe even ever. Yeah, Panthers are not looking that good. Bryce Young, I don't know. Their weapons aren't looking that good. All they have is Adam Thielen, the running back. They got Miles Sanders, but Miles Sanders not looking like a good addition after being picked up by Panthers. But oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back. I was wrong about the Saints because I wanted the Saints to lose. Of course, the Patriots let me down. I picked the Colts over the Titans. I got that one right. Steelers over the Ravens. I got that one wrong. I would never expected that. And the Lions over the Panthers. I predicted that right. So yeah, we're all caught up there. Falcons versus the Texans. This one kind of disappointed me as well because I told a couple of friends that the Texans were probably going to win this. I don't know if I was just being biased to the fact that I don't really like the Falcons, but the Falcons were able to win 21-19. Yeah, Bijan and company. Ritter was actually able to make a couple touchdown passes. Was actually looked pretty good this week. After the last couple of weeks not looking worth the damn. Was able to find a couple of receivers. I think Drake London scored a touchdown. Bijan Robinson continues to impress. So the Falcons were able to get that victory over the Texans. The Dolphins were able to rebound and beat the Giants 31-16. Yeah, the offense of the Dolphins kind of looks unstoppable. They just got to work on that defense a little bit. And when they get Jalen Ramsey back, I feel like they'll be able to make a little bit more noise on that defensive side. But offensively, yeah, Tua had some turnovers, but yeah, offensively, Tyreek Hill is pretty much unstoppable once Waddle really gets healthy. He scored a touchdown as well, but he had his first Waddle of the year. But once he really gets in the flow of the offense and actually be able to get out there and catch some balls as well, him and Tyreek can be unstoppable. Braxton Berrios has looked good too. Achan just got hurt. He got put on IR after hurting his knee, but that boy was averaging like 13 yards a carry. So it's back on Mostert. You kind of show what he was doing before Achan, started really getting off. He had stopped fumbling. Get the coach's trust back because Jeff Wilson is around the corner. So if he wants to take control of this running back room and continue to do things in fantasy, he needs to, you know what I'm saying, get his stuff together and stop fumbling. But they were able to rebound and win over the lowly Giants, who I don't know what's going to happen. Saquon Barkley is missing a whole bunch of games again. I think Waller's hurt now, and all those linemen, all the linemen on the team are hurt. So I just don't know what's going to happen for the Giants. They're probably going to get the number one pick. Giants lost 31-16. Again, the Bengals actually were able to rebound again. It's a game I think Jamar Chase went crazy, had like 200 yards and 3 touchdowns as well. They won 34-20. I picked that game right as well. And again, I picked the Dolphins to beat the Giants. But I lost to the Texans. I said they were going to beat the Falcons, and I was wrong about that. So, but the Bengals beat up on the Cardinals. The Cardinals lost James Conner in the process to a knee, so he got put on IR as well. Michael Wilson, how he was doing against the 49ers a couple weeks after that, hasn't been so good for him. Yeah, and the Cardinals are back to being the Lily Cardinals again. I don't think Murray's going to be coming back anytime soon. So pretty much whoever plays them is going to be an automatic win, especially for the next couple of weeks, especially because Connor's hurt. So that was pretty much their offense. All they have really right now is Hollywood Brown. I don't know how good that's going to do for him. But yeah, the Bengals beat the Cardinals 34-20. Eagles beat the Rams 23-14. I picked the Bengals to beat the Cardinals, by the way. In this game, I did pick the Eagles to beat the Rams. Cooper Kupp did well in his first game back. He picked up right where he left off at like a bunch of targets and over 100 yards. With him and Puka Nakua together, Matthew Stafford's going to have his targets back. I think something better than he had with Robert Woods. You know what I mean? So him, Higbee, Puka Nakua, Cup being back, and them finding a running back in Kyren Williams after letting Cam Akers go is going to be giving Matthew Stafford a lot of weapons. But you know what I'm saying? The Eagles are the Eagles. Defensive line, offensive line going crazy. Receivers going crazy. AJ Brown went crazy. At like 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. Helped the Eagles get their passing game back together, and it's showing itself to be one of the best receivers in the league over the last couple of weeks, anyways. Um, yep, Eagles moved to 5-0, and the Rams I think fall to 2-3 if I'm not mistaken. The Jets get their second win over the Broncos, 31-21. Brees Hall went crazy this game. Had a whole bunch of rushing yards. I think he had like 100 and something. I know he had like a 70-yard touchdown, so it had to be over 110, maybe like 120 rushing yards. I mean, maybe even more than that. I don't have the yards right here on the paper, but he got off, went crazy. The Broncos still losing, still making mistakes. If there's any team that they should have beaten, had a chance to beat, it would be these Jets without Aaron Rodgers. But the Jets have a prominent defense, and how mistake prone the Broncos are looking on offense. Zach Wilson put enough drives together, and they're able to run the ball well enough to get that victory over the Broncos. And the Broncos are looking lowly, bro. I did pick the Jets over the Broncos, though. Then we had the Chiefs versus the Vikings. Vikings came out. I mean, this game was pretty close, actually. It came down to the wire. It came down to the wire at the wrong time, though, because Justin Jefferson went out with, I believe, an ankle injury. He went on the IR. So it left it down to Kirk Cousins to have rookie Jordan Addison to make plays. The Chiefs kind of started to take that away, and you know, Kirk Cousins couldn't get it done. And without Justin Jefferson for a while, I don't know how many wins the Vikings are actually going to be able to get. The Chiefs again escape barely. It's weird that they get so close in these games with such bad teams, but I don't know. It's weird also how they get credit for beating the Vikings and stuff like that and all these lowly teams, but nobody ever talks about the Buccaneers being 3-1. And it's like everybody talks about it like it's a fluke because we played the Saints, the Bears, and the Vikings, but lost to the Eagles. But everybody else can beat these teams and lose to those teams, and they'd be good teams too. It's kind of weird how they just kind of like completely just started to disrespect us since time left, and I'm taking it personally, as you can see. That's some bullshit. Anyways, moving on to the Cowboys 49ers. Oh, by the way, I picked the Chiefs to beat the Vikings, obviously, but I didn't think it was going to be that close. Cowboys versus 49ers, interesting game. This was the game of the week. Everybody's waiting for this. The big one, which team is going to win, which team is going to be dominant, which team is going to show that they're going to be the Super Bowl favorites or the second Super Bowl favorite to the Eagles on the other side until one of these teams eventually, I think the Eagles play, of course, the Eagles play the Cowboys, but I think they play the 49ers as well. So we're gonna see who's really the best of the best of the best, sir. Once that game comes out, or once they play each other as well. But in this game in particular, the 49ers just stomped all over the Cowboys. Yeah, Dak Prescott threw like 3 interceptions. 49ers defense was just all over the place, punching the ball out of the receiver's hands, or the running back's hands, and just all over the field, flying around the field. And then you have Brock Purdy throwing deep balls, accurate balls to Kittle. Kittle had 3 touchdowns. Ayuk was wide open all over the field. McCaffrey isn't really like, having his best game, but short yardage, whenever they need a couple of yards to get a first down, he was doing that. He fumbled once, but they're still able to put up 42 points. You know what I mean? It's kind of wild to see what they're able to do this year. They should be Super Bowl favorites right now because the way that their team is running, functioning so smoothly, and the way they're beating up on all these teams. At first they weren't really playing many prominent teams, but Cowboys, how they've been being talked about all season, and how I've kind of talked about them too. So I'm kind of guilty of this as well. When the team that everybody holds high on a pedestal gets put in front of them and they destroy them, you know what I mean? You can't deny their greatness at that point. So we're gonna see what happens. They have a bunch of players on the roster that are ready to get it done and have been together for a while, and they're in win now mode for sure. The Cowboys are too, but it seems like after losing Trayvon Diggs, the defense took a couple of steps down. Everybody's just figured out just run towards Michael Parsons. Everybody else can't really do much. You test all the other corners, they ain't gonna do anything as well. So we'll see how the Cowboys rebound against the Chargers, and we'll see how the 49ers fare against another good defense out there in Cleveland. But in this game, all the 49ers fans got all the bragging rights because 42-10. Oh boy. Cowboys got to rebound, brothers. But I did pick the 49ers to win this game. Packers in the Monday Night Football game lose to the Raiders in Vegas. Jimmy Garoppolo and the Raiders barely escaped 17-13. Very, 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 very boring game. A game that the Raiders shouldn't have won, but they did get out of there with a victory. But I think the Raiders should actually be looking into a quarterback next year, because Jimmy Garoppolo is not faring too well. He's doing Jimmy Garoppolo things, getting hurt and turning the ball over and not making plays when they need to be made. There's a play in the game where I don't know who the receiver was. I think it was a tight end. It was like wide open, on the sideline, and it was just him in the end zone. And he overthrows him to where the tight end has to try to dive for the ball. Instead of throwing it to him, he like throws it hella far in front of him, which is really reminiscent of the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. I'm sorry, 49ers fans, to bring that up right now, but yeah, Garoppolo's going to Garoppolo, like they like to say. But how many games did I get right from last week? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games right. I mean that's majority. You know what I'm saying? So players mess up sometimes. I didn't really. Sometimes when it's the NFC South picks, like I'm about to do my picks right now for Week 6, just be wary of my bias. I'm gonna always say I want the Saints to lose. I'm gonna always say I want the Falcons to lose, and the Panthers, I'm always gonna say they're gonna lose too. So, if they're not playing against somebody that's obvious, you got to take into account that I'm a hater when it comes to those things. So. Week 6 spreads and matchups. Let's see. Let me make sure I know who is at home and who is away in these situations because they try to like to trick me sometimes. And I really hope my bets are hidden right now. I got some bets going that I'm not checking because I'm doing this stuff for y'all, but it's all good. We gonna get rich together. My first time getting money. Let's see. So this week we got the Broncos are away. All right. So we got the Kansas City Chiefs at home against the Broncos. The Kansas City Chiefs are favored by 10.5 points. I'm just going to pick Kansas City in this game because everybody beats the Broncos and Kansas City gets the cupcake schedules. I don't understand why. And they get all the primetime games because Taylor Swift effect, I guess that is. They probably changed this shit around and shit, man. I don't like that. But why do they get all the easy games? And everybody brags about how good they are and how they're the best team in the NFL, but they play everybody easy and they barely beat them. But I got the Chiefs in this one. Not by 10, well, probably by 10 now. Titans at home versus the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are favored by 4. I got the Ravens to rebound because Lamar Jackson did end the game ugly last week, and he's gonna want to rebound on that and fix that up for everybody. And I think he can do it. Falcons are at home versus Washington. Atlanta is favored by 2.5. I'm picking the Commanders. You know why? Even though they played a terrible game last week and got blown out by the Bears, I think Washington and Sam Howell are going to rebound and somehow muster up enough strength to beat the Falcons. They better, gosh. Vikings in Chicago against the Bears. The Vikings are favored by 2.5. Again, this is a game where I want to see what Justin Fields can do after coming off a game like he had against the Commanders. Minnesota doesn't have Justin Jefferson for a while, so we'll see what they are. See if Alexander Madison can do something. But I am picking Minnesota in this game. Cincinnati versus Seattle. I got Cincinnati. Cincinnati's at home. Seattle's been on a roll. Their defense is coming alive. I think they've been getting kind of lucky. Cincinnati's favored by 3 at home. I got Cincinnati. Cleveland versus the 49ers. In Cleveland, Cleveland's favored by 7. Or excuse me, Cleveland. Well, 49ers are favored by 6. Excuse me. Yeah, this again, like I said, this is a defense that we're gonna see if they're able to get to Brock Purdy and cause the 49ers to, try to play a little harder than they've been playing the last couple of weeks. So, but I still think the 49ers are gonna win this game and continue their roll to 6-0. Miami plays at home against the Panthers. They're gonna demolish the Panthers. Gosh, I'm feel sorry for you, but I'm happy about that because I got Tyreek Hill on my fantasy team. Miami's favored by 13.5 points, but I got Miami. Jaguars versus the Colts at home. Jags favored by 4. I got the Jags. Houston versus New Orleans at home. I got Houston because I ain't picking New Orleans ever. That's all I gotta say. I ain't gonna speak no much more on that. Las Vegas at home versus New England. I think New England's gonna come back off an embarrassing loss It's Josh McDaniels and Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Bill Belichick's going to know them really well and be able to get that victory and rebound off of last week's embarrassing loss, even though Vegas is favored by 3 at home. Cardinals versus the Rams in LA. I got LA to win this. They're favored by 7, but again, everybody that plays Arizona is pretty much just a free win. Even though Josh Dobbs is out there balling, all the injuries that are stacking up for Arizona and everybody they traded away. Not everybody, but Isaiah Simmons, I don't know why they traded him away. He's a young baller, but since they did, and I feel like they are kind of tanking for the first pick. They're good in first half of games, and they just end up losing in the second half. I do got the Rams in this one. Jets versus the Eagles. Oh God, why are they playing this team? But they are in New York. I got the Philadelphia Eagles beating the Jets. They are favored by 7. The Eagles are favored by 7 in New York. Tampa Bay versus the Lions. I think we can beat the Detroit Lions, even though Detroit has been good the last couple of weeks and been having a good showing. They're stepping up and beating who's in front of them. I feel like Tampa Bay is really underrated right now. We're getting our players back off injuries. When we played the Eagles, our starting corner was hurt, and a lot of players on the team got hurt as well. So I think with these players back, being able to match up against the receivers of the Lions, our pass rush, Clyde Chikansey, our starting or our first round pick out of Pitt is actually back. Full practice is out there, going to be with Vita Vea, going to be able to try to get to Jared Goff and harass that offensive line. And we finally get our full pass rush back with 2 healthy corners. Our safety is going to come back off a concussion protocol. So hope all that can amount. Hopefully Mike Evans good off the hamstring because he did hurt his hamstring in the game against the Saints when we won. But the bye week, I don't know if he's fully recovered from that yet, and he's kind of been known to have a bad hamstring from here and there. So we don't want him to tear that thing while we're 3-1 right now. But I do give us a chance. So I think we do win at home. The Detroit Lions are favored by 3, but I got Tampa Bay, of course. We got Buffalo at home against the Giants. Oh my God. The Buffalo Bills are favored by 14 points, and I will definitely pick the Buffalo Bills in that game. The Chargers against Dallas Cowboys. The Chargers are at home, but it's pretty much a second home for the Cowboys. But the Cowboys are favored by 2 points, and people expect the Cowboys to rebound off of that loss against the 49ers, that stomping against the 49ers. But I got the Chiefs. I got the Chargers in this game. I'm going with Herbert. Eckler's back. Keenan Allen's going to be playing again. It's been a little bit. They got some time to rest and recuperate that finger, that non-throwing hand finger that Justin Herbert did hurt 2 weeks ago. Hopefully it's a little bit better there, and he can tolerate the pain. And the backup receivers, Joshua Palmer and Quentin Johnston out of TCU, can step up and be that second receiver, second, third receiver to Keenan Allen so he doesn't get double covered and you guys get shut down. But having Austin Eckler back should be a really big pickup for them. And also, I just feel like the defense needs to step up. They have some ballers on that defense. Joey Bosa, I don't think, played last week. But Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack with Derwin James on the back end. I think they traded J.C. Jackson back to the Patriots, but I don't know how their DBs are right now necessarily as far as their corners go. But the way that defense is playing right now is unacceptable. The Chargers should be way better than they are right now, especially with Keenan Allen and Justin Herbert balling the way they are. But I do have the LA Chargers winning that game. Real quick for fantasy, let me go over that. I didn't write it down, so I kind of have to just go off the app real quick. Give me 1 second here to pull that up. Fantasy wise, last week was a bummer for me. But I'm saying keeping my head up, Fantasy has been really fun. I've been you can't stay on the top of the standings forever, there's ups and downs, and that's what you love about the game. There's injuries. You don't love to see anybody get injured, but there's ebbs and flows of people's teams. People get hurt, people get traded, people get benched, people stuff happens. But last week I lost to shenanigans 122-120. Dijon's dazzling team beat just a running back living paycheck to paycheck 154-103. Sean's championship team beat K-Swag 132-95. Armpit lost to Pay Dirt 166-134. Cam's Catering lost to You're Not the Boss of Me 101-93. Hot Boys was able to beat Nightmare on G Block 145-112, leaving the standings at a new number 1. Hot Boys at 4-1. Cam's Catering at number 2 at 4-1. Armpit in number 3 at 4-1. Me at 4th place in 3-2. Nightmare on G Block in 5th place at 3-2. Dijon's dazzling team 6th place at 2-3. Shenanigans at 7 at 2-3. Pay Dirt in eighth at 2-3. K Swag in ninth at 2-3. Sean's championship team at 10th and 2-3. You're not the boss of me at 11th and 2-3. And just a running back living paycheck. The paycheck is still in last place at 0-5. I know injuries derailed your season from the beginning. But you know what I'm saying? I'm open for trades, brother, if you need to holler at me for a trade. But fantasy football, man, it's gonna be a quick review of that today. I'm just kind of gonna run through that. But hopefully your teams are getting straight. Hopefully you're getting healthy because we're getting into the thick of things. Excuse me, we have 12 teams. Half the teams in my league again make the playoffs. So if you're not in sixth place by I think week 13, I think it might be bad for you. We start playoffs 14, 15, and 16. So get your shit together, getting these standings, man. Had Johnny Boy on the pod last week talking about his team, and he did come out victorious this week. Got a victory, which was funny because he started off losing to the team he was playing like by 90 points because of uh, the play of Justin Fields and DJ Moore. So he was able to come back because he had a couple of players. He had George Kittle that scored 3 touchdowns for the Niners, and a couple players were able to help him take it over the top. So he was able to win last week and get that victory and go into first place. So that's all it takes, man. A lucky week and a consecutive win streak to take you to first place. I believe first two teams get that bye since 6 teams make it. They have the bottom 4 teams battle it out first week, and the week after that, you play the 2 teams at top to get the bye. So getting first and second place is what's really warranted. That's what everybody wants, and that's what everybody's playing for. Again, guys, if you want to be on the podcast, talk some fantasy football, we can have a fantasy football dedicated podcast. We can just go over it, but yeah, that's what fantasy football is. It's the best of bias fantasy football league, invitational, 2023. If you guys are interested, you can check us out. I could put some again. I hope you guys saw the draft on Instagram Live. It was live. If you want to be in the league next year, hit us up. Because there's always 1 or 2 people that actually drop out from year to year. We have a good core group of guys though. But you know, we like to keep it rotating if we can, get some fresh blood in there, some new brains in there, some new challenges in there. This year we got a couple of new people. We welcomed in Kev, and we also welcomed in young Sean Gamble, young Geezy. You know what I'm saying? So welcome to the league. Hope it's going good for y'all. Even though some of y'all are doing good, some of y'all are doing bad, but ebbs and flows, y'all. Ebbs and flows. Like Stephen A. likes to say, it's fluid. Just like that water I drank. But moving on, let's talk a little bit about NBA. So NBA, we saw a couple of teams playing this preseason, so we ain't really getting too much into the nitty gritty of things. But it is interesting in NBA how the stars do play a good majority of the game. Maybe I didn't really pay attention to the NBA preseason back in the day to actually know that the starters play a good amount of the game, at least till halftime, maybe third quarter. Um, so we get to see a good amount of them. But yeah, I was excited to see some of these players play, especially Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama. Chet famously hurt his foot in a Drew League game last year, so this is the first time we're actually getting to see him. We saw him a little bit in summer league, but we're seeing him in preseason action, actually get out there and play against other NBA players. And we do get to see Wembanyama, the guy that's supposed to be the next generational talent, come out there and do what he's going to do. And to see them go up against each other, we get to see who is actually has the front foot forward into being the next guy who's going to be the next guy of their generation. So we saw them play against each other. Wemby went 8 from 13, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 block, and 2 from 5 from 3. Chet went had a little bit better stat line, 7 to 10, 21 points, 9 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, and 2 of 2 from 3. So they both got off, and they actually went up against each other. Wembanyama had a cool little dunk over Chet. Chet kind of like stood there to try to take a charge, and Wembanyama didn't stop and just kind of yammed it. But seeing these guys go at it, it's going to be something we see for years to come. I think they are in the same division as well, so they play each other like 5 times. So we'll see that matchup a lot. Oh no, no, I think OKC's in our division. So I think Spurs are in the division with the Warriors, Kings, Sun, or not Warriors, Kings, um, Suns in them. Because I don't think the Suns are in our division though. Yeah, the Suns definitely are in our division. So yeah, um, yeah. So it's gonna be a lot of good matchups in the West this year. I'm excited to see that, especially with the young guns coming up and coming. Zion's back. We'll get Ja back. We'll have Wembanyama, Chet Holmgren, the development of the young Houston and OKC squads. Denver Nuggets develop in the next year. All these super teams that were started. We saw the Bucks trade. We saw the Celtics trades. We saw Warriors trades. We saw the free agent pickups of the Lakers. We saw the free agent pickups of a bunch of teams. We saw what they did out there in Phoenix. Of course, they still making moves out there in Phoenix. So it's gonna be really good season. I'm excited at starting, and I'm excited at starting right in the middle of all the other sports seasons. So when there's not something for us to watch football wise, we can watch some basketball. If there's not basketball, we can watch some hockey. If there's not some hockey, we can watch some what else is there? Some playoff baseball right now that I'll talk about in a little bit. I'm kind of disappointed about, but yeah, it's good to see those young players balling. But it was even better to see the Denver Nuggets back in action. We saw the first preseason game. They're on TNT, which was really surprising to see a preseason game on TNT, especially when they probably got pre-noticed that Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker weren't playing. Why they weren't playing, I'm not too sure because the Nuggets starting five sure did play. We didn't have Christian Brown. We didn't have. I think he was the only one that didn't play because of injury, um, nursing an injury. But yeah, we went hard. Our starters did good. They looked good coming out there against the Suns backups, but I mean, still we're hitting shots. We're getting open, moving around. Jokic looked good. Murray looked good out there taking shots. Had 12 points. Jokic had 9 in the limited minutes he played. The starters only really played the first half. Then we got the backups out there to see what they could do. Julian Strother, man, the 4-year guy out of Gonzaga was out there with the stroke, man. We hired him. We got him because of his shooting stroke. He had a really good shooting stroke out there in Gonzaga. Catch and shoot guy, pure jump shot. We already got one of those in PJ. We just got Justin Holiday that can shoot. Another 4-year guy out of Clemson, I think it was. His name is Hunter Tyson, 6'9" shooter. Just a bunch of shooters that can be around Jokic and just follow up the second unit that can hustle out there and had experience and just can plug and play. And it was good to see. Julian Strother had 20 points out there shooting for knocking down threes, knocking down floaters, jumpers. And that's what it's going to take for him to get minutes in that second unit. Reggie Jackson's backup point guard now. Seeing Zeke Naji compete for backup minutes and see if his development actually, because we've been holding on to him for a while. He hasn't really got much burn. You know what I mean? We still have DeAndre Jordan, but Zeke Naji is going to be our primary backup center. So it's going to be good to see what he can give with some minutes now that Jeff Green's gone. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. Jalen Pickett, another point guard, another guy with experience that's been around the block a little bit, a couple of different colleges. But it was really about growth and continuation for us and plug and play guys that can replace what we lost in Bruce Brown and Jeff Green and pieces like that. Not little pieces, but we got a collection of players to try to supplement the loss of Bruce Brown and Jeff Green and what they brought to the team as far as experience and just know-how. Christian Brown, I think, can take over that Bruce Brown spot, continue to develop his scoring and play defense and all the shooting we need in the second unit because our second unit kind of struggled to score a lot of the regular season last year. Hopefully, with Reggie Jackson's experience, he can man that, have a defender and score in Bruce Brown and, Strother, Hunter Tyson. Oh, of course, Peyton Watson's out there, nasty, backup power forward, can dribble, dunk, getting his shot together. He's a young boy, like 19, 20 years old, but he was being brought up by Kevin Durant. And a lot of these guys, 5-star recruit out of UCLA, didn't really play that much at UCLA, but then got drafted by the Nuggets. They saw the potential in him, and he's nasty. We put him in the game towards the end of the season when our starters were kind of getting benched and ramped up for playoff mode. He's showing a lot, and we expect a lot from him this season. Him, Christian Brown, taking that next step and showing these rookies how to do it. Him, with Reggie Jackson, Justin Holiday, we got some stuff, but we were able to win the game 115 and 107. So I'm excited to see stuff during the regular season. The Suns didn't really do much again. They sat their starters. They were scared, blah, blah, blah. That was gross. I'm sorry, guys. Hope you block that out and don't get that on here. MLB, man. I'm only gonna talk about the Braves series. The Braves just lost today. The series was tied 1-1. After we got smacked the first game out there in Atlanta. Second game in Atlanta took a very nice catch in the center field and a mistake by Bryce Harper not to tag up before he took off and being out at first for us to win a game. Our second game out there in Atlanta to tie the series up 1-1, 1-1. And from what I saw today, man, it was just pretty bad. Our pitching staff wasn't it. Elder went out there and got smacked around. Bryce Harper hit 2 home runs. And then Nola, Philly's pitching staff just came out there and just shut everybody down, struck everybody out, and was able to contain the Braves to only 2 runs. It was pretty embarrassing. 10-2 was the final score. Phillies take a 2-1 lead. Phillies were in the World Series last year, and they're trying to go back. Braves won the World Series 2 years ago, and they're trying to go back to the World Series again. But you know what I'm saying? What it's looking like right now, it's not looking good. But it's best of five. We still got someone. We got Strider out there to pitch. If we can make it past, you know, this next game out there in Philly, get it to a game five out there in Atlanta, I think we can do our thing. We're ready. I think we're prepared. We've been playing good all season. We're slumping right now. The Philly's getting hot, and we're getting a little cold, cooling off towards the end of the season. That's baseball season's hella long. That kind of shit happens, and I feel like the playoffs are too short. It's like, okay, we take all this time to get to the playoff, and then the playoff comes, and you lose like a couple of games, and it's over with. But I feel it. Braves do better. I really want to see Acuna solidify the season with a championship, not only MVP, if he eventually wins the MVP, to top it off with a championship with a World Series win would be even better. But right now, it's looking a little dire. I'll report in tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow, but you'll know what happens. What tomorrow is Thursday, so it'll be yesterday. So when you're listening to this, it can be worse than 2-1 or it could be 2-2. So whatever the case may be, I'm really crossing my fingers, hoping Atlanta can do it. I've been riding with them all season. The squad, I hope we can. If we do lose, I hope we can keep the squad together. Young squad, signed for a long time, but just there's always so much fluctuation at the end of these baseball seasons, and I don't want to see anybody go. I like what we have this season, and I'm not calling it over yet, but we need to do some work right now because the crowd's electric out there in Philly, and if we want to move on to the NLCS, we're gonna have to play inspired ball and win these next two games, hands down. But yeah, and that's it for sports. Sorry about that for everybody who don't care about sports. But we're gonna move on a little bit into some pop culture. This topic right here has been really live as of late. Yeah, it's been the talk of the town. It's been the talk of the town. Drake's For All the Dogs has dropped. Everybody's waiting for it. You saw me make an announcement for it like maybe like a month, 2 weeks early. Yeah, he fooled us all. But when he did drop it, instead of 9 o'clock on October the 6th, he wanted to drop it at 6 o'clock in the morning, or 9 o'clock on October the 5th. He dropped it at 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, whatever he dropped it, because I wasn't up when it dropped. But me personally, I liked the album. I liked it. I liked it. Again, it wasn't what I expected necessarily, but hey, fuck expectations. Do what you want to do. Me personally, I'm not the type of dude that gets mad at artists for not putting out the greatest album every time they put out an album. Me personally, I can appreciate the artist's frame of work for so long and the music they've given us for so long that it's okay if they don't hit or don't make your favorite album every time. Me personally, I like it for the artistry anyways. I'll pick out songs that I like and I'll slap those songs that I like and I'll be hella grateful for having those songs that he put the music out. You know what I'm saying? Just giving me something to listen to, something that I vibe to, something that can motivate me to get throughout the day. Some people take it too deep, take it too personally when these artists kind of go out of the box and do something they want to do and kind of stray away from what the artists or the fans expected. And at the same time, the artist should kind of let the fans kind of voice their opinion about the music because that's kind of what it's for anyways. I mean, sometimes you release an album for you just for release and maybe for monetary gains, but once it's out there and you have fans, you want feedback from your fans. So it's good to hear these things from your fans. It's not necessarily something for you to have to respond to necessarily all the time or take it personally. I would just take it with a grain of salt, especially when you're a gazillionaire and just I don't know why it necessarily bothers you. But in a certain situation with this album, there's a couple of people, I guess, since they are prominent figures in the media that do have a prominent voice and really good following, really good sized following that can kind of curve a narrative or just kind of like steer a narrative in a way that an artist wouldn't like. Drake tried to get in front of it real quick. So we saw him attack Charlemagne the God when Slime You Out came out, and Charlemagne kind of gave a bad review on the song, saying he didn't like it or whatever. Drake posted some posts on Instagram about Charlemagne and his new skin, and just kind of like just slightly taking jabs at him. And I kind of felt like it wasn't that serious because I don't know. Back in the day, I don't know if you're reading this is too late or when Back to Back came out, the whole bottles for Charlemagne thing. I thought they kind of eased the tension back then. But I did, I listened to Brilliant Idiots. I listened to Breakfast Club. So I hear his opinion on Drake. And, he's an older head. He's like a Jay-Z guy, kind of like he also really likes Pusha T. So that could be something that Drake isn't really liking as well. Um, he's not really a fan of Drake's rap, and he kind of, took offense to that and kind of let Charlemagne know that again that he is Drake, and he kind of tried to turn his fans against Charlemagne by making fun of him. And again, this happened in podcast world as Joe Budden. Me personally, I listen to the Joe Budden podcast a lot. Joe Budden had a critique for all the dogs on his podcast to where he listened to the songs and kind of gave his. He said this a couple of times about Drake albums. He's a really big Drake fan, but he hates it when he gets on stage and or performs on his album, puts out songs with like Future and 21 Savage and Lil Yachty. He just talked about how he needs to hang out with rappers and rap with rappers his own age on his own at his own level and stop trying to make kiddie music and act his age type of thing, which is harsh. Well, you kind of should kind of leave it to the music, even though it is kind of critique on the music. It's like sometimes Drake does on his albums kind of have songs with artists. You have the song, the style of the artist, so it sounds like the artist song featuring Drake, and then he puts it on his album, or he'll adopt the style or the slang of some artist that he is really into at the time and kind of go with it, which I don't really mind. You know what I'm saying? Drake, he has a way of bringing light to things that may not be popular on the forefront, but once he gets a hold of it and brings it to the forefront, excuse me, it does get a little more popular. So I don't blame him for that. But I don't know. I don't know what people really expected. I know For All the Dogs implies kind of like him rapping and talking this shit and kind of like be on some hip hop, super rappy, rappity, rap, and kind of like fuck these bitches type shit. But on the album, he got a lot of opposite of that. He had a lot of songs where he was singing to girls, kind of talking about girls, talking about getting girls. Had some playful songs with Chief Keef, Lil Yachty, again 21 Savage, Yeet was on there. Just some people that older heads probably don't listen to and weren't really expecting from a Drake album. And that's where the critique of he's doing and putting the album out for the kids, trying to get the kids to click play and download and buy all the stuff. Because I mean, a lot of our biggest artists are taking that route. Little Yachty, Lil Uzi Vert, I would say, Playboy Cardi. They all have this fan base of really, really young kids who are ride or die, damn near a cult following of him. You know what I'm saying? All those artists. So um, I wouldn't be mad 'cause those fans are devout. I wouldn't. Who wouldn't want fans that loved everything you did and just kind of were just always for what you did and the product you put out? I don't mind that at all. But Joe Budden, in his case, he is 40 plus. Everybody he does the podcast with are like 40 plus. So their style of music and their music tastes are a lot different than somebody that would consume some Yeet, 21 Savage, maybe Little Yachty, Chief Keef. You know what I mean? So there's 23 songs on the album, so I don't think they're all like that. But I do feel like he wanted a Take Care album, something cohesive, something for all the doggies. But I don't know. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? The last couple of Drake albums have kind of been like that for me personally. They'll have a theme that he puts out with the album. And when the album comes out, it doesn't necessarily match the theme 100%. But I enjoy the songs on there. Maybe not be every song, but I do enjoy the music on there. I'm not upset that it's not like, oh shit, the songs that he made aren't themed with the album, just like Take Care or this, and that. Hey man, I don't care. I just enjoy it when the music comes out. You give me 23 new songs to listen to, I'm all for it. It doesn't have to be an album that I put up on a pedestal forever and just swear behind. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter that much to me. Me personally, I like the music, I like the artistry. If you could put out a good song, multiple good songs on the album, your album's gonna get a lot of plays from me, a lot of places that I go, a lot of promotion from me, and I love it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's just the ideals behind, oh, this artist is this and that and needs to put out 100% great album or great cohesive piece of work, or else it's the worst thing, or this artist needs to do something different. No, just let the artist be the artist. And if you don't like the album, don't like it, give it a little review, have some great. If it's not for you, say it's not for you. You know what I'm saying? But Joe Budden, if you listen to the Joe Budden podcast, he says, he's potting. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna put a little sauce on it. He's gonna make it to where his listeners get engaged, are really interested in what he has to say about things, and keeps people coming back. He knows what he's doing. He's great at podcasting. And I think for him to get under Drake's skin and him be such a Drake stan, I think that's nothing but money for him. People are saying his name. People are putting him on a pedestal. Look at what he looking at his old raps, looking him up, listening to his music, and maybe it was planned behind the scenes. Maybe they really are friends, and Drake said, "I'm gonna do this to kind of promote the album or just keep my name in the media." But I don't know. Maybe this is really him being upset about the stuff that Joe Budden said. If you haven't heard it, go listen to it. It's everywhere right now on X, on Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Instagram. The clips are everywhere. He didn't drop a podcast today, which is interesting. I think he put it behind the Patreon paywall to make people pay for it, which I have mixed feelings about. I mean, why not take credit? I mean, take advantage of the publicity he's getting from the beef right now and put it behind a paywall, and people want to listen to it so bad to see his response. Pay for it, and you'll get it. That's probably what he'll say on Saturday when he puts out a pod, but or he might not even mention it. He might take another approach with this, just to make Drake kind of look stupid for attacking him and trying to say all the shit he said about him in his post, and just kind of go with grace and just not review rap albums like he says he's gonna do anyways. Just kind of do R&B because he is. He says he's tired of the backlash that he gets from rappers and try to DM him, and it gets bigger than it needs to be. Now Birdman's jumping in it. It's just a lot, brother. I think people should just be able to take critique, especially when you're a gazillionaire. This last little piece of pop culture topic is kind of a shock to me. I just wanted to get it in here before everybody in the world started talking about it. It came out today. Today is Wednesday when I'm recording it, but Jada and Will Smith have been separated since 2016, according to Jada Pinkett Smith on a morning show. I don't know exactly what show it was this morning, but I saw it on. But she's talking, she's letting her stories fly, man. We've seen a lot of Jada Pinkett over the last couple of years, and me personally, I think the embarrassment for Will Smith needs to stop. Jada, if you don't want to be with Will, just walk away. Just divorce Will Smith. Stop dragging him through the mud, embarrassing him, cheating on him, telling people why you've been cheating on him, telling people that you love Tupac, putting out videos of you and Tupac when he is congratulating you on being such a wonderful wife and such a beautiful woman on your birthday. You just post a picture of you and Tupac rapping over a Will Smith song. It's just crazy to me. It's just very, very, very disrespectful. And I don't think I've seen one thing that Will Smith has done to disrespect Jada Pinkett. It's just very, very weird to see her just keep doing what she's doing. He has to be doing some crazy stuff behind closed doors to have her fed up or something for her just to go off the deep end to try to embarrass one of our legends like this so publicly. Like now stuff is coming up about Chris Rock tried to kiss Jada or try to ask Jada on a date or something like that. That's why Will Smith came up there and slapped Chris Rock. He thought, and Chris Rock thought it, or Jada Pinkett thought it was a skit or something. Like it just gets deeper and deeper. Me personally, I don't know. Maybe it's just an excuse to try to excuse some of the stuff that Will Smith has done. Maybe it's real, and that's what explains all the shit that we've kind of just been assuming over the years that they were swingers. They kind of just were separated and let each other see different people. But now that everything has got out in the open, they kind of have to admit stuff they don't want to admit. They feel uncomfortable about it. So now, instead of having to try to explain themselves at every step of the way, they say, okay, now we've been separated for the last 7 years. All this stuff you've seen us do in public is all just to keep up a facade so you guys wouldn't necessarily know that we aren't together. Like, come on now. I don't know. It's weird. It's real. Jada Pinkett is Jada Pinkett. I feel like we used to hold her on such a high pedestal, and her and Will used to be these people of legend. Now we know everything about their lives, and now we hear everything that Jada Pinkett has to say about their relationship, which just makes it seem the mystique just goes down so much day by day, day by day. It's just weird. It's just weird to me, and it's sad to see. Hopefully, Will Smith does make a comeback, and they can have a clean separation, and now he can go out on his own and just be himself instead of being all hidden and tucked away and seem to be, people say that, cursed by the Wicked Witch of the West. I'm just playing. Just kidding. No harm. I just had to say it because that's what people are saying. I don't believe that necessarily. I believe that Hollywood is a crazy place. I always say that. And though I've never really been in the mix or been in Hollywood circles, stories I definitely do believe. I know it's probably a crazy place. People have to do crazy things to get in crazy spots. People have to hold secrets, keep secrets just to keep popularity and that fame people kill for. And to stay in that circle of A-list is just so exciting for people that they'll do anything, even fake a relationship, fake a happy, perfectly married family for 7 years while the kids seem to be struggling behind the scenes separately and is going through some things. We wondered why. And this is why, man. This would cause anybody some stress just to try to pretend to be a perfect family everywhere you go, everywhere you step, everywhere you move, just because you're who you are and you get again, I keep using this word, but held up on this high ass pedestal, you felt like you needed to move a certain way. And that's their business and that's their privacy, but it's just sad to see Jada continue to walk this man through the mud. I mean, it's her prerogative to go out there and say and tell all, be all, whatever she wants to be, say what she wants to say. But what happened to just kind of like quiet as kept, you know what I'm saying? We don't need to know about everybody's relationship. We don't need to know about Will and Jada's relationship. That's one relationship we were cool with leaving that to the imagination. You know what I'm saying? How are we supposed to believe in love when one of the most prominent black couples we knew was all fake? Even though kind of people kind of felt like it was fake anyways, but I don't know. Now we got the confirmation. Is love real? I'm just playing. But lastly, let's get into the cinema corner, man. I don't want to hold y'all here too long. Lastly, we got the finale of Ahsoka. Again, I'm sorry I don't got AKA here to talk about it. But spoiler alert if you haven't seen it yet, it was a couple of weeks ago. I just want to get this out to you guys before you guys forget about it. We got Loki out here. We're supposed to be reviewing Loki and stuff like that. So before we get too far into Loki and before we get too far away from the review of Ahsoka finale, let's talk a little bit about that, huh? Some of the predictions I made, I did listen to what was it? Heavy spoilers where they kind of predicted that Admiral Thrawn was going to get out of the situation, be able to warp out of the planet and get back to his planet or whatever planet they got to at the end of the episode to try to start this new army to take over the galaxy and do whatever they need to do to bring the empire back to what its prominence or whatever. But this finale was pretty cool. It had some scenes that I liked. You know, we got to see Ezra and Sabine really get down and get in some action, really fighting with the lightsabers. I think this is the episode we saw Ezra using the force judo, you know what I mean? And once we saw Ezra and Sabine get back together, they got back on Ahsoka's ship, and you saw the little scene with Ezra trying to build the lightsabers. You know what I'm saying? A lot of flashbacks. I heard there was some in Rebels to where his previous master was teaching them how to make lightsabers, and the robot, I forgot his name at the moment. The robot is like an ancient android that used to help make all the Jedi's lightsabers and stuff like that. So it was kind of a cool little scene to see what Yawang, I forgot the robot's name, kind of talk to Ezra about how he used to teach his master how to make lightsabers and how, the skills got passed down to him and he's a lightsaber maker himself, which is pretty dope. I did like the fact that Sabine was able to help Ezra get back on the ship and get home, sneak onto the big ass Chimera ship and sneak home. It was kind of interesting to see her actually using the Force because I remember AKA was on here talking about how Sabine shouldn't get the Force. She wasn't really strong with it in the cartoon, so for her to get the Force in this one would be hella fake. But hey, you know what I'm saying? I don't mind it. I mean, they were kind of hinting at it the whole time. And for her to be a Mandalorian and be very force sensitive, to have a lightsaber, you know what I'm saying? This kind of gives me hope that she kind of gets with Grogu and her and Grogu, and then Grogu grows up. Ahsoka getting that group too. Just there'll be a badass group of Jedis that are kind of getting back together, and the Jedis are going to be back to one. Especially Ezra's still alive. He was able to get to the New Republic and let them know that Thrawn was coming and all the shit that he was doing, telling about the Night Sisters and how they resurrected all these droids. We got to see that these droids were all resurrected by the Night Sisters, and you can't kill them because they'll just be brought back to life, which I thought was kind of weird in that scene when they were kind of running away from those zombie droids, because I felt like they should have just cut off their arms. If you cut off their arms, they won't be able to shoot those blasters anymore, and you'll be perfectly safe and wouldn't have to run away from them. Cut their heads off, they wouldn't be shooting blasters. Cut their arms off, they wouldn't be shooting blasters. Cut them in half, they wouldn't be shooting blasters. you know what I'm saying? It was Disney, so I'll just give them that much. But it was cool to see a couple of lightsaber fights and them fight some droids that couldn't die type shit. I thought it was also cool that after Sabine helped Ezra escape, she stayed with Ahsoka because she was out there losing and maybe about to lose to one of the Night Sisters, but she came back, helped Ahsoka fight, killed those droids, and helped Ahsoka get victory. I thought it was a cool scene too because Sabine didn't abandon Ahsoka. Just kind of further showed that Ahsoka was ready and Sabine was ready to take on that partnership to become the Padawan again and become an apprentice to become that Jedi again, like they were back in the days before they had that falling out. So she showed that she was there for her master and she was there for her no matter what. She won't leave her alone. She was there to save Ezra, found Ezra, but her second job is to be with her master and trade to become a Jedi. So, you know what I'm saying? And that's what she did, and she stayed. I think, though, in the next seasons to come, that they will find a way to get out. They still have their ship. Um, Ezra escaped, so they found Hela, and Hela, I think that was her name. That's what her name was, the green lady with the little things. They found her, and Ezra's going to spill everything and let her know what's going on, even though she already knows that Ahsoka and Sabine are in that planet, and ready to do everything. But it, it kind of left us wondering what's going to happen because I wanted to see more fighting. I wanted to see more high stakes, if you will. We knew the whole time when they went to the planet, they're looking for Thrawn the whole time, anyways. They actually found him. He escapes. There wasn't really a big confrontation between them. You know what I'm saying? Because all Thrawn did was kind of distract them while he built up the Chimera to be able to hyper jump. And once they did hyper jump, that was the plan. He's a really big planner, I'm hearing. That's what AKA has been saying to us, that he has these thinking ahead type plans that he puts together. He's a master strategist. So yeah, his strategy was to keep Ahsoka, Sabine, and Ezra busy while he built up enough charge to be able to warp his chimera out of that galaxy to the galaxy where everybody was. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be interesting to see. Again, I'm really excited to see what they have. I'm hoping that they kind of tie all the shows together. Because Ahsoka was pretty much in Boba Fett, was in Mandalorian, Bo-Katan, does know who Sabine is, does know who Ahsoka is. So Grogu is in all the shows as well. So hopefully they can all link up and they're leading up to something really big. Because ultimately, I mean, we didn't really meet Ezra till late in the 8 episode series. So you want to see more Ezra. We definitely want to see more Thrawn because supposedly he's a really good fighter. AK said he really gets down. So we want to see what's going on with him. And we want to see more, man. Rosario Dawson did Raw, but I feel like she needs to do more as far as Ahsoka goes because again, in Rebels and Attack of the Clones or Clone Wars, she did a lot and she learned a lot. And for her to be such an advanced form of herself, we want to see her do more. I know Rosario Dawson probably doesn't do all her own stunts, and she probably wasn't really doing all that shit anyways. But we want to see a little bit more. I want to see Sabine take that next step in actually becoming a Mandalorian slash Jedi, just like what's his name? He was the Mandalorian guy that was a Mandalorian, the first Mandalorian and Jedi at the same time. I know that was supposed to be Grogu, but I guess Sabine's already on that level. So Sabine is going to be the next one that's Raw. You know what I'm saying? And maybe we can get it all together and have a dope ass series to where everybody gets together and goes up against Admiral Thrawn and the ultimate. Maybe Mandalorian comes back. Maybe Bo-Katan with the dark saber comes through. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? I really want to see a grown up Grogu though. I know they want to keep him young and baby Grogu forever for marketing and money purposes, but I would love to see him grow up and be like a teenager or something like that. You know what I mean? I know he can live forever, but sheesh, at least make him talk too. Can we give him some words? Have him talk like Yoda backwards and stuff? That would be dope. That would be dope. But yeah, again, I really like the show. I do think I like Andor better, just cinematically, and the stakes in that were a lot higher. Every time something bad happened to Ahsoka, I kind of just figured she'd get out of it because she is Ahsoka. I didn't figure anybody would die really. It's sad to know that the Dark Jedi guy that was actually chasing Sabine in Ahsoka the whole time, the actor actually passed away, so he won't be reprising that role because at the end of him standing on uh, that statue that was pointing. was kind of raw. I kind of want to know more about that and what he was actually on the planet to do. We saw his apprentice, the girl, go become the leader of like the cannibal people, the little natives. So we'll see what happens. Of course, they're not gonna be able to use him again because he did pass away, but they did leave it open for a season 2. We know there's gonna be a season 2, so it's gonna be interesting to see. But I hope that was a good enough review for you. Again, if AKA comes on for some of these low-key reviews, maybe I'll touch in on him with this pause. Touch in on him with this pause. I don't know, I said it twice. And see how he felt about it and get some, in-depth kind of storyline tie-ups, just in case you were stuck on a cliffhanger and don't really know what's happening like me. Maybe he does know the next steps and what's happening. I'm excited to see maybe some more live action shows from the animated series they have. The Bad Batch was pretty sick, so maybe if they did like a live action version of that'd be tight too. But yeah, keep it on with the Ahsoka stuff. Dave Filoni's doing great with the Star Wars content. Yeah, Disney Plus, keep doing your thing. One of the apps I do pay for, and I'm excited to keep paying for, especially with Loki being back and Jonathan Majors still being in the MCU, and us just keeping it moving. I'm just loving everything. The writer strike being over, it's just coming back. Everything's coming back. But yeah, that's the end of the podcast this week. Sorry I went a little long. I was long-winded, combination of sports, pop culture, and Cinema Corner. But it's the end of the podcast. I'd like to let them know where you can find me at. You know what I'm saying? You can find me Instagram, SAC_Lydell on the Instagram, Patrick_Lydell on the Snapchat. If you're looking for the Instagram for the podcast, Best of Bias, I post all the kind of previews of what I'm going to be talking about on the pod. And just putting it up there, little topics here and there. Just click on the story. You'll see some topics up there. I might touch on it. I might not. But it's just something I'm trying to inform you guys about, even though it's not on the podcast. It's how to keep you guys updated. You know what I'm saying? Best of Bias. You can look for us on the YouTube page. 198.99 videos, contents at the time, right now. AKA is doing a wonderful job with the videos. The Anime Kumite tournaments, episode 180 and episode 180, I think it's 179 and 181. Me and AKA did tournaments, so check those out. I'm gonna put those on a separate tab on the YouTube. Just click on that. You'll see Best of Bias BOBP tournaments. Click on that. Check those out. We did a bunch of work in there, a bunch of B-roll, a bunch of clips and stuff of the anime characters we're talking about. It's a great tournament. Go check that out. And we also did the last couple of episodes of Ahsoka review on there with some B-roll as well. So go check those out. Also, if you guys didn't see those videos, I posted on Instagram. We got some new merch in the building. Actually, I did show you guys last week. But new merch in the building, new truckers, bam, bam, bam. Sorry, audio listeners, I'm holding up the merch right now. We still got the old ones, regular dad hats, all kinds of stuff still available for y'all. Plenty. So hit me up for pricing. I can ship it to you. You can pick it up. Either way, I'm just trying to get this gear out to everybody so I can be repping the podcast wherever they go. You know what I'm saying? Continue to watch all these great shows that are out right now. Loki, the challenge is coming back, and there's a Challenge USA on right now. A new challenge coming out. Movies in theaters, go watch The Creator. Some horror movies is coming out. A bunch of stuff coming out. That new Leonardo DiCaprio movie with the 3.5 hour runtime. Yeah, a bunch of stuff. So, you know what I'm saying? There's a bunch of stuff to do this weekend, a bunch of ways to stay out of trouble, everybody. It's crazy out there in the world. You know what I'm saying? Stay hydrated, love somebody. Go get you some Best of Bias merch. You know what I'm saying? Go listen to those tournament podcasts. And again, December 1st through 3rd, Comic-Con LA. If you want to be part of the podcast crew, I'll be out there recording some content, getting some autographs, talking to some people, being on site, trying to get out to all these cons and all these event where the people is like us, you know what I'm saying? So the nerds of the world, the Best of Bias podcasters of the world, you know what I'm saying? The people that are in a little bit of everything. Check me out, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be there. But as of now, I love y'all. Get y'all some rest, or go out there and party, or have fun at work, or whatever you're gonna do on this beautiful Friday. Hey, go get to it. It's the Best of Bias podcast. Your boy Lydell Dinero. See y'all next week. You know what I'm saying? I'll be here no matter what. You know what I'm saying? So don't be afraid to click on the podcast. Hit that bell on the YouTube, you know what I'm saying? So you know when the video comes out, you'll be reminded, like, subscribe, all those good stuffs. Tell your friends about the podcast and come back. It's the Best of Bias podcast, Lydell Dinero, and we out of here. Yeah.
It's the best of bias. You need the earful, you should try us. From pop culture to the movies to Unitas. It's the best of bias. best of bias. Yeah. It's the best of bias.